Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today we are doing a cook with me. I saw a recipe in the Craft, what's it called, Food and Family or something like that magazine, and it looked really good. And it was like 100 points per serving, and I'm like, no way. So I said, let's see what we can do to bring these points down. So if you're seeing this, it was a success and we were able to bring the points down. My thing was 5 points or less for a serving because it is a dessert, and it's a real dessert. It's not, I mean, don't get me wrong, I love the Weight Watchers mock cheesecake and all that, you know, but this is a real cake with ice cream and chocolate. So if you're seeing this, it was successful. So I guess that means it was successful. What it is a cake and ice cream popsicle. You do need to plan ahead because it does require some freezer time. So without further ado, let's get started. Okay, so what we need for this recipe is a box of sugar-free cake mix. I'm using chocolate because that's what I have. The original recipe calls for a yellow or white cake mix, but I have chocolate, so that's what I'm using. 3 eggs, 1 15-ounce can of pumpkin, 1 little applesauce unsweetened, some vanilla, or I guess any flavor you like, Halo Top or Enlightened or some type of low-calorie, high-protein ice cream. And then I have the Wilton Candy Melts. This is going to be the thorn in the side. These are high in points. I have tried and tried and tried to melt down the Lily's chips, and they never ever melt nice for me. I've tried the microwave, I've tried a double boiler, I've tried with some coconut oil. I can never get them to melt right. So this could be the thorn in the side with this recipe. I also bought a can of sugar-free frosting, chocolate frosting. Thought that may work, but honestly, I'm not sure. So you know how I am. I roll with it. So we'll see what happens when we get to that part of the recipe. But the first thing we need to do is get the cake made and get that in the oven so it can cool and freeze. So let's get started on that. Okay, so for the first part of the recipe, we're going to do the cake. 1 box of sugar-free cake mix. Now the recipe only calls for half the box. I'm just making the whole thing because it's easier, and I will either use the other part of the cake for some type of dessert or freeze it. I will do something with it, but for me, it's just easier to make the whole thing. 3 eggs. We are not following the directions on the cake mix, just so you know. 1 little thing of applesauce. And then 1 15-ounce can of pumpkin puree. Before you go, ooh, pumpkin, you cannot, and I promise you, you cannot taste the pumpkin in this. I'm not a huge pumpkin fan. Every once in a while, I like a little bit in the fall, but all it does is replace the oil and the water. You cannot taste it. I promise, I promise, I promise. And I'm very taste sensitive. You can also throw a little bit of vanilla in here if you want, but I didn't get that out, so we're not going to. Then we're just going to mix it on low for 30 seconds, then turn it up to medium for 2 minutes until it is all very well combined. And I'm gonna shut the camera off because you don't need to hear the mixer or see how a mixer works, because I'm guessing y'all know how that happens. Our cake mix is done, so now I'm just going to divide it evenly between 2 9-inch cake pans that I have sprayed with nonstick spray. This is gonna be a crapshoot. I'm gonna have to go back and forth a little bit because I didn't weigh the whole thing out, which is fine. I'll estimate first and then I'll see how close I was. Yeah, not close. And that's why I weigh them, because I thought I was so close. And you don't have to be this crazy about it. But I tend to get a little OCD. Okay, this should finish it up. Perfect. 553 grams in each one. So I am now going to put these in the oven for, let's see how long, 29 to 33 minutes. I will show you what they look like when they come out. Then they need to cool completely. Then we need to cut them in half. So it's going to be a while, but through the magic of YouTube, it'll only be a few seconds for you. So I'm going to pop those in the oven. Okay, so the cake is out of the oven and cooled, and what I did is cut it in half horizontally. So the one layer is in half. Then we have 192 grams of vanilla halo top that has been softened, and it's like 1,000,000 degrees and 100% humidity here, so it's really soft. And we are just going to spread that evenly over half of the cake. Yeah, evenly. Okay, and I tasted a little bit of the cake. It has never ever tasted like pumpkin before. And this time it actually does have a little slight pumpkin flavor. Nothing you would notice if you weren't looking for it, I don't think. But it does a little bit. And I don't know why, because last time it didn't, but it's okay. It's gonna be yummy, we hope. So there's the ice cream spread out over. Maybe this was a little too soft. And then we're gonna take the top half of the cake and flip it right on top of the bottom. Okay. A little technical difficulty while I was putting the cake, the second part of the cake back on top. I broke it in half because it's stuck. It's so moist, it's stuck to the cooling rack. My fault, I should have turned it over and not had the top down on the cooling rack because the top is the part that is more moist. So anyway, it's on there. It's good. Now I'm gonna cover it with some saran wrap and I'm gonna throw this in the freezer for 2 hours till the ice cream rehardens. So, not an epic fail, but not an epic success either. I tried to do one by the directions and it really didn't work out too well, mainly because I'm trying to keep the points low. And with the amount of chocolate you would need to use to make it look like the picture, the points would be astronomical. So this is what it's supposed to look like. Aren't they adorable? In the little popsicle and all this chocolate and peanuts and yeah. Didn't quite look like this, but I have a solution and it's still absolutely delicious. So let me show you my solution. Instead of being on a popsicle, we're gonna put it on a plate. And then, this is cut into 12 pieces, by the way. Actually, I screwed up a little bit there, but 12 pieces. Then I took 6 of the candy melts, because 6 is 2 points. 9 is 3 points. So if you wanted to go a little higher, you could. I took 6 of them and melted them. And what I'm gonna do is just spread it over the top. I'm not gonna do the bottom, not gonna do the sides, just the top. Because it does give just enough to get that nice, almost like a, that magic shell ice cream stuff. Because of the cake being frozen, the chocolate gets nice and hard. And then what I'm gonna do is 0 points worth of Jimmy's. Yes, I'm from Jersey. These are Jimmy's, not sprinkles. And there we go. If you look, you can see the ice cream in the center. It did sort of sink into the cake. So totally not like the picture, but let me tell you, absolutely delicious for 4 points. You've got cake, you've got ice cream, you've got chocolate, and you've got Jimmy's for 4 points. So not an epic fail, but not an epic success either. So there you have it. As always on my channel, real life. I don't practice things before I make them. I bring them to you as is. If it was a total epic fail, you wouldn't even be seeing this. But not bad. And we will be having it for dessert tonight. So I will put the recipe on my website. I probably will not get that up until later tonight. So you might actually see this video before the recipe is up. And that's it. Tastes delicious. Just didn't actually turn out the way it was supposed to, but that's what happens sometime. So I hope you like this. Give it a thumbs up if you liked it. Honestly, I expect to get some thumbs down on this one, but that's okay too. So have a good night, and I will see you soon.